his death. So the Sabbath comes. Everything's finished. The Sabbath of God. So what happens now? In that tomb, interesting tomb. The tomb, the Keburah, belongs to Joseph. Joseph. Interesting because the rabbis looked at Joseph of the Bible of Genesis, Joseph, as a shadow of Messiah. You can read it in the rabbinical writings, which is amazing, because they saw in Joseph of Genesis that Joseph was loved by the Father. Think about it. He was rejected by his brothers, despised and rejected. He was stripped of his garment. He was cast away. He was as dead. They put blood on his garment. He was considered dead. He went to a foreign land. He suffered for the sins of his people. He then went into prison suffering for the sins of others that he was innocent of, but he suffered. He was the scapegoat of everyone. And he was there down in the dungeon, and from the deepest pit, the king lifts him up and raises him to sit at his right hand. That's it. I mean, think about that. I don't have to spell it out for you. You're smart. That is so Messiah. And then, not even to mention how does the story end? He's separated from his brothers. The Messiah is separated from his brothers, from his family, from Israel. But at the end of the story, his family comes back to him. And they bow down to him. See, at first they don't recognize him because he looks like a Gentile. That's the way Jesus looks like to Israel. But one day he's going to say, but I am Joseph, your brother. I am Yeshua, your brother. They will look upon me whom they have pierced and mourn for him on that day. So here the rabbis linked Messiah to Joseph. The suffering Messiah, but who's the suffering servant, Joseph, but then who was raised up. Well, now Messiah has suffered. He's in the tomb. And what's the tomb? It's the tomb of Joseph. It's Joseph's tomb. It's Joseph of Arimathea, who's named after that Joseph. So the tomb is named after Joseph, who's a shadow of Messiah, who is in the pit and is raised up. The tomb of Joseph. And now also Joseph, the word Joseph, what does it mean? In Hebrew, there's no accents. In Hebrew, the word Joseph, Yosef, means he shall increase. So what tomb do they put him in, the Keburah? The tomb is called the tomb of him who shall increase. God is cool. So here he is. He actually bought a tomb for himself. Most people don't think that way. But some do. There are Jewish people who, to this day, will buy tombs or graves in Jerusalem because they want to be buried in the holy city, or on the Mount of Olives because Messiah is coming there. So it's sort of like that he wants a place in Jerusalem, but he could have no idea when he was making that purchase, or and we don't know how it happened, but anything to do with that tomb, he had no idea what was going to happen there. God has no access. It was Isaiah 53, verse 9. It says, he made his grave with the wicked and with a rich man in his death. So it speaks of, here's the prophecy 700 years before. Isaiah writes of Messiah. He speaks of the wicked. Messiah will die with the wicked. Well, that's exactly what happened. Messiah died as a criminal, numbered with the transgressors, with the wicked on the cross. But then it says also with a rich man in his death. A rich man would be involved with his death. Well, then it says specifically that Joseph was a rich man. There's no accidents in the Bible. It specifically says he was a rich man, fulfilling Isaiah 53. And the word here, you wouldn't see this in English, but the word in Isaiah 53 where it says it's about making his grave with a wicked and then a rich man. The word for grave is Keburah, which also means tomb. He made his tomb. He died with criminals, but with a rich man as well involved in the tomb. That rich man is Joseph. Now, you may lend something to somebody and get it back, but I've never heard of somebody lending a tomb and getting it back, lending a grave and getting it back. But God, he didn't expect to get it back, but God was the one in his tomb. Imagine giving your tomb to God. It was, we hear about the empty tomb, but it wasn't just the empty tomb. It wasn't just the tomb, it was somebody's tomb. Had to be. It was Joseph's tomb. See, God doesn't have a tomb. God is the God of life. He doesn't have a tomb. He's the living God. So why would he have a tomb? It was not really that Messiah needed a tomb to lay in. It's that the tomb needed Messiah to lay in it. In other words, he didn't really need our death needed him. He doesn't need our tears need him. So it wasn't really Joseph blessing God with a tomb, it was God blessing Joseph and man with a tomb, with his life in the tomb. You ever lend something to somebody and they return it to you and it's not the way you lent it? It comes back broken? Well, Joseph lends the tomb to Messiah. Messiah gets it back to him broken. The tomb is broken. See, a tomb is a place of death. Now death is broken. A tomb is a place of gloom. Now that gloom is broken. He borrows it. He changes it. How can Joseph get buried in that tomb again now? That tomb, undoubtedly, there would be people who knew about it who would gather there. We don't know exactly where it is, but some people think, but they gathered there, they celebrated. You can't put your body there now. You can't die there now. It's a place of blessing. But it wasn't just an empty tomb. It belonged to somebody. That's part of what God is saying here. You see, the resurrection was a joint venture. It was all God doing it, but he needed a tomb to do it. He didn't do it without us. We gave him our death. He gives us resurrection.